Hey guys, Ash here from C4Retech, and yesterday Samsung launched the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus. So earlier today I was contemplating shooting a video about it, and I got thinking as to what I was to talk about in the video, and then I thought, why not ask you guys? So ask I did, and you've sent in your questions, and in this video I'm gonna try to answer them the best way I can. So let's get started. So before we start, my apologies, my throat is kind of sore. I've been a little sick, but I didn't want to not shoot this video. So bear with me, and I thank you for your patience. Question number 1, should Samsung have upgraded the camera sensor? Well, the S7 has one of the best camera sensors around, so I'm not really bummed out that they are using the already excellent sensor. They've managed to add some software improvements, which they say they have with the multi-frame processing. If they have included something, and if the end results are better than with the S7, I'd be happy. That's it. I was kind of hoping for a dual camera setup, especially given that Apple did it with the iPhone 7 Plus. And Huawei has been doing it for a while. Other brands are coming out with dual camera setups, even on mid-rangers. So I was kind of hoping to see Samsung's dual camera over here, but that didn't happen. Still not too bummed out. It's okay, I guess. What do you think will be the pricing in India? I think it would not be cheaper than the iPhone 7, but still at that price, who would buy? A lot of people will. I mean, people have been buying it. See, dude, there is a market, there is a demographic that want premium phones and will choose to buy it. So I'm expecting the pricing to be around the iPhone 7, or rather around the 50,000 rupee mark, because Samsung has generally stuck to the previous gen flagship prices. So that's where I expect the S8 to be priced, and the S8 Plus around 60. Do you think they should have put a 3500 or 4000 milliampere battery instead of the ones that are in now? Well, given what happened with the Note 7, which was a direct result of them trying to cramp in, as much capacity as possible, maybe Samsung were a little precarious this time around. I'm sorry, I don't know. Anyway, a little precarious this time around. Watchful. I could have used watchful. Why did I have to go for precarious? My bad. Anyway, and again, the thickness, you can't really make your phone a lot thicker than the last time around, right? That would lead to negative talk about the product, which is something that Samsung wouldn't want. Personally, yes, I would have liked, I always prefer to see higher capacity batteries in phones, but then again, this is going to be one of the first phones with SoC that's built on the 10nm manufacturing process, going from something like the Snapdragon 617 to the 625, which we went down from 28 nanometers to 14 nanometers. We saw a huge difference with regards to how the battery life turned out. So maybe 14 to 10 might give some gains again with the AMOLED display. Yes, it's a large display, but with AMOLED and a 10 nanometer a SoC built on the 10 nanometer manufacturing process, at the heart of things, battery might just about be okay. Is it having a hybrid or dedicated micro SD slot, and what are the impressions of Bixby? Well, as far as I know, it's gonna go with the same hybrid setup, because I don't see any changes. I don't see 2 slots. I don't think they'd go with the dedicated slot. I mean, at least they haven't mentioned it, so I think it's the hybrid setup. Bixby, will get to it in a bit. Why don't manufacturers like Samsung focus more on battery life and software optimization rather than design only? Well, design is easier to market. It's easier to showcase on advertisements and promotional stuff. It's easier to promote. It's easier to capture headlines with design rather than with battery or software optimization. That said, it's not like Samsung's not tinkered around with the software. They have, and of course there is a focus on battery life. Hopefully the battery holds up. So yeah, that's that. Is it a worthy upgrade over the S7 Edge? With the S7 Edge 128GB be getting a price cut? If yes, which would be a better buy, S8 or S7 Edge 128GB? See, I haven't used the S8 yet, so I can't really tell you is it gonna be worth it or not. But in my 5 years in this industry, there's only once that I can recall where I've wholeheartedly recommended a single generation upgrade, that is from a phone to its successor, and that was with the Moto G5 Plus. You know, from the G4 Plus to the G5 Plus was a great it's a great upgrade. Just looking at the specs alone, on paper, I don't think you should be getting the S8 over the S7 Edge. As in, if you already own a S7 Edge, do not upgrade. I mean, again, there's a lot to be known, but in all probability, this is what I'm gonna tell you once I've spent time with the S8. That's that. As far as price cuts go, it might probably get a price cut, but Samsung aren't known to cut the prices of their, you know, higher storage variants, because not a lot of people buy those, and if you want it, pay for it. That's been Samsung's mentality. So, but then again, it might get a price cut. Will Samsung introduce SPen support for the S8? No. For the SPen to work, you need to have a digitizer built in. So the S8 doesn't have that. The Note series does. So they have tried other kind of, you know, pen support, like with the C Pen or something for the Galaxy S3. Didn't really work out well. So odds of Samsung doing that here, nope. And this is why we push the Bixby question. Bixby Assistant, your thoughts? So, you know, a couple of years back, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna turn off my Atmos. I think that might make a difference to the acoustics. Anyway, you know, a couple of years back, Samsung had all these duplicate apps for Google services, and then they got rid of them. And now it's coming back. Maybe because Bixby is kind of Samsung telling you, don't do it the Google way, do it through us, because it's very similar. Bixby gives you cards to the left, you know, that's where Google Now, Google Now used to give you cards on the Google Now launcher, and again, touchless controls and all that. So how it turns out, again, it depends on how well it integrates. I mean, how much third party, how many developers are willing to support it and all that. Too early to tell. Initial impressions, it seems really redundant given that Google Assistant has been great. So yeah, and Google Assistant is still there, so you can long press the home key and get Google Assistant. Bixby activates via a dedicated key, a dedicated hardware key. So will you be using Bixby or Google Assistant? Me personally, I definitely give Bixby a try for a couple of days because I need to review the phone and all that. But when all's said and done, I'd probably end up going back to Google Assistant because I'm kind of a Google guy. I've never used the mail apps that come built in with phones. I always use the Gmail app. One of the reasons why I've never used as in for a long duration, never used a Windows phone for a long period of time is because of the lack of Google apps on it. First party Google apps, that is. So yeah, that's just me. Would such a large screen lead to accidental touches? Hell yes, that's something I'm very, very interested to see how that, you know, pans out. I would have loved to see a smaller display over here. Yes, they've just made it longer. Yes, you know, the footprint might still be that of a smaller phone, but what if it were like a 5.1 inch or 5.2 inch display? How much smaller, how much more compact could the phone have been? So that's something, you know, we're gonna have to wonder. But yeah, it might actually lead to accidental touches. This is something I'm curious to test out. I will let you guys know once I manage to get my hands on an S8. Is this same camera sensor like Moto G5 Plus? Guys, this is a case of, you know, Lenovo Moto kind of playing around. They've made sure that they've never really spoken about the sensor on the G5 Plus. It's a great sensor, yes. It is kind of similar, you know, on paper to what's on the S7. You know, given the dual autofocus pixels and the f1.7 aperture, 12 megapixel resolution, but they've remained tight-lipped about what sensor is underneath. So if it were the same sensor, it doesn't have OIS, by the way, the camera, but if it were the same sensor, I'm pretty sure Motorola and Lenovo would have, you know, shouted it out till everybody heard it. Right now, I just feel they're not talking about it, so I don't think it's the same sensor. I'm pretty sure it's not. So yeah, that's that. I just picked this question so that I can get that off my chest. What will be the price, and are you disappointed with the 4 gigs of RAM? The price part, we already spoke about it. As far as the RAM goes, yes, I am. It's probably not gonna make any difference with real-time usage, but I still am. I can't help feel disappointed because I understand if Samsung were, like 4 gigs is enough, but they did come out with a C9 Pro with 6 gigs of RAM, and Samsung has done that in the past where they've used their non-flagship phones to kind of test out what works. As in, like a few years back with the Mega, they went with 2 different sizes kind of to see what works best for people before changing the screen size on the Note series. So after seeing 6 gigs of RAM on the C9 Pro, I thought maybe I got my hopes up a little bit to see 6 gigs of RAM on the S8, but turns out not this time. That said, going by track record, Samsung was also late to bring on 4 gigs of RAM. When other brands were doing 4, they were still doing 3, and so hopefully with real-time usage you shouldn't be seeing a difference. Fingers crossed, but I am a little disappointed. What do you really think? What Samsung offered with S8 is revolutionary. Without accessories, isn't it like an ordinary flagship? What's an ordinary flagship? They are bundling the AKG earphones that are worth $99, at least in select markets. They didn't say which markets, they just said they're bundling it, but I don't know. I don't really buy it. If you're gonna spend $50,000 or $60,000 on a flagship, you aren't buying it for the freebies. And maybe in the 10K segment, you could lure a person away with freebies, but at these segments, you're basically buying for the brand value, for the phone, whatever it is that you're impressed by. So I'm not really disappointed by the lack of, freebies here. As far as other accessories that you can buy goes, they've got the decks. That seems really intriguing. That's something I'd want to check out. The new Gear VR is in, the 360-degree camera is in. So these are things that, 360-degree video I'm not really sold on yet, because it just kind of the resolution goes for a toss when you're looking at it just on a regular screen like most people do. That's not something I'm really interested in. And again, VR, I've had the Oculus Rift for a few months now. I've played on it like 4 days total, so it's nice, but you can't do it continuously, right? I get nauseous at least if I'm playing for over 30 minutes on any game that involves movement. So again, but the decks is something I really want to check out. I have an S7 Edge. Is buying an S8 a worthy upgrade, or should I wait for the Note 8 or the S9? I'm really sorry. I don't know why I picked this question, because we just already answered it, or did I go off track and answer it? I'm not sure. Anyway, if you're somebody who's just clicked the timestamp and I've got here, I generally stay away from recommending a single gen upgrade. So yeah, that's that. And now I'm going to leave you guys, question number 15, I'm going to leave you with the most important question of all. This is a question I can't answer, but this is a question I'm also going to ask. When will you get the review unit? I have no clue. Samsung India has generally been late with the S series and Note series, so I tend to import them. April 21st is when the S8 goes on sale. So I'm going to try to source it from any market it's available, and hopefully I manage to get it in my hands as soon as possible. Once I do get it though, I will make sure to come out with a lot more coverage. Do let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see, what would you like to see me cover, and I'll try to get that done as soon as I can get my hands on one. So that's it, guys. This is something a little different that I wanted to try out. If you did like this concept of me answering your questions, and you'd want to see me do the same for future phone launches and whatnot, give the video a big thumbs up. And that's not enough, let me know in the comments as well. But if you hated it, you know what to do. Go right down, put it down. Anyway, for more S8 coverage, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. If you have already subscribed, do this to make sure you get notified each time a new video goes live here on C4eTech. And yeah, shooting with a sore throat, I appreciate it. I don't know, just give me a thumbs up anyway. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ash here from C4eTech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.